let's take a look at the project for Module 4 in Word. Now this particular project has a start file and a couple of support files, so make sure that you download all three of these. I have downloaded the required documents. I went ahead and created a folder to put these in so I could stay a little bit more organized. Here's my start file. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. First thing I'm going to do is rename it, or I'm going to save as, and I'm going to put it in my downloads into the new folder that I've created, the Word Module 4 folder. So this is it right here. That's where I know I'm keeping it. And I'm simply going to change that 1 to a 2. So now I am working in the correct document. So our very first instruction is we want to do a little stylizing to this image right here. So I'm going to select it, and 1A wants me to apply color correction. So once I have this image selected, I have my additional Picture Tools tab. Click on Format, and here are my corrections. So I'm going to click the drop down arrow, and I'm looking for brightness plus 40%, minus 20. So that took me a little hunting and pecking to find that one, but here it is right here. Plus 40 brightness, minus 20 contrast. 1B, position the graphic using the top right with square text wrapping. So again, I want to make sure that I'm on my Format tab, Position, click the drop down arrow, and if I hover over this one here, it tells me position in top right with square text wrapping. So now 1C, I'm going to apply the bevel perspective left, right. So again, make sure you're under the Format tab, Picture Styles, and looking at the screenshot, I knew it kind of looked like this. Otherwise, you kind of have to just go through, and I know that gets frustrating when you're not sure what you're looking at. But this one is the bevel perspective left, white, and I'm going to select that one. Number 2, apply the title style to the paragraph Company Getaway. So Company Getaway, I'm just applying a style. If you don't see title, just right up here on the first row, click the drop down arrow, and let's look for title. There it is. Can you hear me turning the pages? Number 3, on page 2, use WordArt to format text as follows. So I'm going to select the entire paragraph, recharge, and connect. And I'm including the paragraph mark. So how do I know if I'm including the paragraph mark? I might want to show hide my paragraph markers. I can see that I do have that selected. Now I'm going to apply the Fill Blue Accent 1 Shadow Word Art style. So I'm going to go to the Insert tab, my Word Art. Now I'm on my laptop, and so my icons may be compressed. Yours may look the same, or they may look a little different, but under the text grouping, you're looking for this kind of crooked A icon. Click the drop down arrow, and we're looking for the Fill Blue Accent 1 Shadow. Is that it? Accent Color 1 Shadow. So it does tell us, there's a hint, it says depending on your version of Office, that it could display slightly differently. And this is how mine is displaying. So I'm going to click on that and notice that my text is now converted to WordArt. Now I'm going to apply the Wave 1 text effect from the Warp section of the Transform gallery. Say what? So under my Formatting tab, now again, if you don't have it selected, you do not have the tab that we need. So I'm going to select that again, or actually I just need to click on it now because it is WordArt. Under my Drawing Tools Format tab, this icon right here is my text effect. So I'm going to click the drop down arrow, and from the Transform gallery, I am looking for Wave 1. These are chevrons. Here's a wave. So I'm looking for wave 1. But it also does say, depending on your version, it may say wave down. And that's what mine says. So I'll select that one. Now I'm going to change the text wrapping to top and bottom. So when it's selected, this icon right here is my text wrapping, my layout options. And I'm going to choose top and bottom. I'm on 3D. Now what I want to do with my word art is change the height of the word art text box to 1 inch. So I'm going to go back to my formatting tab, change the height to 1 inch, and I'm changing the width to 6.5. Do take note that when you have your word art selected, it doesn't really have the transform effect showing. So don't panic if you're looking at the screenshot and thinking, oh, it doesn't look like the screenshot. Simply click away to deselect it, and now you can see the wave effect that they were asking for. Okay, now we're moving on to number 4, and what we're going to do here is a continuous section break. So what we're going to do on 4A is on page 2, and I believe I am on page 2. I'm going to go to the beginning of the first body paragraph, which begins with this year's getaway, and I'm going to insert a section break at the beginning of that. Under my layout tab, breaks, and I'm going to do a continuous break. Now I'm going to go to 4B, and on page 3, it's wanting me to start at the beginning of the first heading paragraph, activity snapshots. Click in front of that, again on my layout tab, breaks, continuous, and on page 6, at the beginning of the paragraph, advocates for youth. And I'm going to set a continuous page break there. Now, we don't see anything at this point because we're going to start formatting these different sections in number 5. But if you wanted to know where section breaks were, that's another good reason to use the show hide paragraph marks. So I can actually see where all my section breaks are. So I can actually see one here, section break, and here. So even though I had clicked here, it's kind of moving it up here, but it's going to be correct. So I'm going to turn that off. Now the formatting starts. So back on page 2, where it says this year's getaway, the first thing I want to do is format this section. And I want to make this into 2 columns. I'm selecting from this first body paragraph all the way down to where I see where it ends and attract new ones. So that's quite a bit that I need to select there. And I want to make this into 2 columns. Layout, columns, 2. Now on page 5, I'm going to format the next section that begins with advocates for youth. So I'm going to scroll down to page 5, advocates for youth, and ending with Zimmer's Financial. So I'm going to select this entire section, and I am going to format this into 3 columns. So on my layout tab, columns, 3. Now back on page 2, I've moved on to number 6. Back on page 2, I'm going to insert a drop cap. So I'm going up to again to page 2 at the beginning of the first body paragraph, this year's getaway. I'm going to select the T, and on my home tab, insert tab, under the text grouping, drop cap, click the drop down arrow, and it wanted a dropped. So this one here. Now I'm still on page 2, and I'm going to insert a shape. So on 7A is where I'm at now. So near the paragraph below the heading, "Why are we getting away?" insert a lightning bolt shape from the basic shape section of the shapes gallery. So near the paragraph below the heading. So I'm going to take a look at my screenshot so I kind of see what we're supposed to be doing. Because when it says near, exactly what does that mean? So I'm just going to place my cursor in front of the first sentence and insert, and under my illustrations grouping, shapes, and I'm looking for the lightning bolt. So right here, and see how my cursor changes into a crosshairs. So now what I'm going to do is just click, hold, and drag out that shape. And it's kind of where we still need to do some formatting to get it how the instructions want us, but it's kind of in the positioning where it needs to be. So now moving on to 7b, I'm going to resize the shape to the height of 0.7 and the width to 0.5. Okay, now I'm going to apply the tight text wrapping. So I'm going to click my icon here for layout options, and I want to choose the tight. And so what that does, tight text wrapping means that the text is going to wrap around this image tightly. If I were to make that square, then it would be a little, whoops, sorry, this one, square, then see how the text is a little more, or it is squared off. But we want it to be scrunched up against that image as much as possible. So I'm going to choose tight. And now I'm going to apply the moderate effect pink accent 5 shape. So again, with that image selected, under my Format tab, my shape styles, don't confuse it with the word art styles, that's what I was eyeballing at first, but here are my shape styles. So I'm going to choose the moderate effect pink, accent 5. Now 7e states, move the shape to the left of the paragraph beginning, it's time to recharge, but we kind of took care of that from the beginning, so I don't think there's anything differently we need to do here. It does say hint, the text wrapping does not need to match figure 1 exactly, so we'll see if MindTap really means that. So is it starting to look like our screenshot that they have for us? I think it does so far. So on page, or not page 8, but number 8 on page 3, let's go take a look at what we got going on here, page 3. So what we want to do is format the picture of chefs preparing food to match the other pictures on the page. So this one here does not match this one. The instructions want us to crop the picture to the round digital corner triangle shape from the rectangle section of the crop to shape gallery. Whew, that's a mouthful. So let's take a look at that. I'm going to select the image, go to my Format tab, click the drop down arrow for crop, crop to shape, and I'm going to choose the round diagonal corner rectangle. And where is that at? So my particular version says digital corners rounded. So it's this one right here. And there we have it. I'm going to undo and show you something really quick though. Remember how we learned the Format Painter? If I want to copy the formatting of this, I'm going to select the picture that already has the cropping I like. On my Home tab, Format Painter, apply it to that picture. Now, that's a lot quicker because now the next step is to apply the pink accent 5 picture border. Well, because I already applied using the Format Painter, it already has that. So see how much quicker that would be instead of doing this in 2 steps, especially since these two were already formatted. Why would you not do that? But let me go ahead and show you where that is. So I'm going to apply the picture border. I have this picture. Go to my Format, Picture Border, and here is where I would choose the pink Accent 5 picture border if I had not used the Format Painter. Okay, so hopefully I didn't throw you off there, and I know that this project is trying to teach you how to do the cropping, but let's assume that you had already done that to one or two other images. Just know that you don't have to keep doing things individually. That Format Painter works in a lot of situations. Okay, number 9. I'm on page 4, or I'm going to move to page 4 for this next one. And just a hint here for you guys. When you're working on these or working on any project, work, school, whatever, always come up here and save. Save. What's the keyboard shortcut to save? Well, if I hover over that, it shows me Control S. So come up here, click on this icon, or do Control S on your keyboard. You just get in the habit of constantly saving. You don't want to take a chance of losing your work. So on page 4, I'm going to provide additional information about accommodations by inserting a format a sidebar text box. So basically I'm just inserting a text box that's going to be on the side of the document. So I'm going to move the insertion point anywhere in the heading lodging, and I'm just going to put it right at the beginning, and then I'm going to insert a text box. So on my Insert tab, Text Box, and we're looking for the Ion Sidebar 1. So I'm going to scroll down till I see that one. Here it is. It's kind of in the middle, not quite. And there it is. So it basically puts in a text box with some generic information. You can either copy and paste text in there, an image in there, or you can type in there. So I'm going to use About the Snake River Resort as the sidebar title. So I'm going to click up here in the placeholder for the title and type in About the Snake River Resort. Then I'm going to insert text from the support file that we downloaded, the support resort doc. The hint on 9C says insert the text from the file. Do not copy and paste the text from the file. So normally you would just go and you would open up this second Word document, copy the text, come back into this document, and then paste it where you want it to be. But we're going to do it a little bit different this time. We're going to go to our Insert tab in our text grouping. This icon right here, again, your icons, how it's laid out on the ribbon, may look slightly different. So I'm going to click the drop down arrow and Text from File. So now I'm going to go and choose, navigate to where that file is, and here's the folder. It automatically, for me, opened up where that folder was, and I'm looking for this particular document right here. Select it and insert. So it automatically basically imported that information. Okay, 9D. Resize the sidebar to a height of 5.75. So I want to make sure that's selected. And I'm going to resize that. Oh, but oh dear, it looks like I have done something here. So I'm going to undo, and then I'm going to make sure that I select this text down here. Now I'm going to go back to Insert. I've got to do this again. So if you watched me the first time, if you didn't have your cursor positioned correctly, may have screwed up too. Choose this one. There we go. I wasn't even paying attention to where my cursor was, and I inserted the text, imported the text into the wrong location. So now I am on 9D and I need to resize the sidebar, make sure that it's selected, go to Format, and the height 5.75. Okay, does it say anything to remove the extra white space? Bravo. Look, see, with the instructions, they know exactly the height to make it. In the real world, we'd have to tinker with it a little bit. So I'm on the last page of the instructions. I'm on number 10, and now I'm moving down to page 4. I'm going to draw and format a text box. So 10A, draw a text box to the left of the heading Flanagan Software, Flanagan, if I can speak, Software Corporate Giving. So to the left of that, okay, I had to scroll back up to find that. Here is what I was looking for. I was on the wrong page, I guess. So again, I'm going to draw a text box to the left. So insert, text box. This time it just says draw a text box, so I'm choosing simple text box. And I'm going to move it to the left. 10B, I'm going to resize the text box, format, and go to my sizing grouping, and I need a height of 1.9 and I need a width of 2.2. 10C, I'm going to position the text box using the bottom left with square text wrapping. So again, with that text box selected, in my Format tab, Position, and I want position bottom left with square text wrapping. So notice the square text, it squares off this text in relation to this object. Now I'm going to copy and paste the text from the other file that we had to download. And it doesn't tell us we have to do it in any particular way. I can import the text, or I can simply open up the foundation document that we have, and I can copy and paste it. And so this is just a short little blurb. So Control A to select all, Control C to copy it. Back in my document, I'm going to click within the text box, and I'm going to do a Control V to paste that information. Now I'm going to apply a shape style to this text box. So I'm on 10E. Again, make sure that it's selected, and my shape style is the Subtle Effect Pink Accent 5. Isn't that beautiful? And now 10F, I'm going to apply the Offset Right Shape Effect from the outer section of the Shadow Shape Effects gallery. So that's kind of a mouthful, and you have to read it closely, but we're looking for a shape effect. So again, in our shape styles grouping, shape effect, click the drop down arrow, and we're looking for a shadow shape effect, something from this gallery. So I'm going to click here to get my menu, and I am looking for the offset right. So I'm just going to hover over these till I find it. There it is right there. And basically what it did was it applied this shadow, and the shadow is offset to the right just a little bit. Now I'm going to go to page 5, and I want to display the text in the first cell of the table vertically so that it reads from the bottom to the top. So I'm just going to place my cursor in this first cell right here where it says grants made in 2020. And it brings up my table tool. So I have design and layout. I'm going to go to my layout tab and text direction. So I did have to look at the screenshot to make sure that I'm doing this right, but it needs to read from bottom to top. And if I look at my screenshot, I believe, yep, I got it right. So hopefully you got it right too. Okay, number 12. Hey, we're almost done. We're on the penultimate instruction here. I'm going to add a 0.15 hanging indent to the list of donors, beginning with Advocates for Youth and ending with Zimmerman's Financial. So I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to go ahead and select this whole section right here, and it wants me to add a hanging indent. So in my home, on my home tab, in my paragraph grouping, I'm going to click this arrow here to bring up my paragraph dialog box. And here where it says special, if I click the drop down arrow, here is my hanging indent. And I want to change this to 0.15. And click OK. Okay, now number 13, insert a copyright sign symbol and a space before the text copyright 2020. So before the text, insert a copyright symbol. There's a couple of ways you can do this. From my Insert tab, Symbol, and you'll probably find the copyright symbol just right here, but if not, you can go to More Symbols and Special Characters, and you'll find it here. But a quicker way to do it is open parentheses, C, close parentheses, it will automatically change that. So are we supposed to have a space between the copyright symbol and the C in the word copyright? Yes, so I'm going to make a space there, and I believe that is it. So hopefully you get 100%. We'll see. If not, let me know. Okay guys, I'm out.